Hi friends, welcome back to the back ranks.
Call an ambulance! But not for me!
Move in silence. Only speak when it's time to say checkmate. Learning the names of famous checkmate moves is a good idea to memorize essential checkmate patterns. It will embed in your mind what particular pattern looks like. A checkmate pattern is a particular and recognizable arrangement of pieces that deliver the checkmate. This will help you to identify possible opportunities in your games that you otherwise may have overlooked. The best checkmate moves in chess or famous checkmate patterns are usually named either after the first person who executed the pattern or by the visual appearance of the mating pattern. You can further improve your chess tactics skills by studying all different checkmates that common occurs in the chess games. Checkmate patterns are an important aspect of tactical training. Let's learn some of the most famous checkmate patterns. Anastasia Mate. Anastasia's mate got its name from the book Anastasia und das Schachspiel, Anastasia and the Game of Chess. Anastasia's mate is a great example of how a knight and rook can cooperate to checkmate the opponent's king on the side of the board. The position on the board illustrates the fundamental idea of Anastasia's checkmate pattern. Rook h4 checkmates the black king against the side of the board. Note how white knight is perfectly placed to cover the escape squares. Let's add more pieces to the board. Can you find an Anastasia mate here? You're white here. Pause the video and think. Yes, queen into h7, a beautiful queen sacrifice. King capture h7 and rook h3 is a beautiful Anastasia mate. This position is from the game Hammer vs Carlsen, Halkidiki, Greece, 2003. Black to play. Can you find a mate in two moves? Again, pause the video and think. Carlsen plays queen h5 check, the queen sacrifice, and the white is forced to capture the queen with the g-pawn, g take h5. However, this opens up the fourth rank for black's rook and allows black to demonstrate a checkmate that is based on Anastasia mate pattern. Anderssen's mate. Anderssen's mate is a checkmate pattern that features a rook or queen supported by a diagonally attacking piece such as pawn or bishop as it checkmates the opposing king along the 8th rank of the corner. The pattern is named after Adolf Anderssen, a German chess master from the 19th century. White concludes the game with Anderssen mate. A particular feature of this position is that the white pawn is defended by his king. Rook h8 is a checkmate. What about this position? Can you find an Anderssen's mate here? White plays rook h3 check and prepares to execute Anderssen mate on the next move. Black is forced to play his king to g8. Rook h8. White concludes the game with Anderssen mate. Rudolf Spielmann, Baldur Hollinker, 1929. White to play. Can you find an Anderssen mate here? Pause the video and calculate. Knight e7. Knight sacrifice and clearing route for the rook at e5. Queen capture knight, followed by queen sacrifice, queen into h7. King into h7. Rook h5. Check. King g8, rook h8, checkmate. The Anderssen's mate with the support of bishop at b2. Arabian Mate. The Arabian Mate is a checkmate pattern that features unique abilities of a knight with the help of a rook. Rook h7, checkmate. Note how the white knight defends the rook on h7 and at the same time covers the escape square g8. This demonstration of the knight's unique abilities is a main feature of the Arabian Mate. Wilhelm Steinitz, the first official world chess champion, used this checkmate pattern brilliantly in a game against Rainer Vienna 1860. Here is the position. You are black here. Can you spot what Williamston is spotted here? Queen into h2, a beautiful move. Rook captures h2 and rook g1, a brilliant checkmate. Grigory Kardinov versus Vishwanathan Anand, 1987. Anand resigned at this position. Can you find the reason? An Arabian Mate here? Yes. Queen into f7, a brilliant move, eliminating the defender of g6 for the knight. Rook captures queen. Knight g6, check. King moves to g8 and rook h8 is an amazing checkmate. Bag-a-rank mate. The bag-a-rank mate happens when a king is trapped behind its own pawn shield and gets mated by a rook or queen. White plays rook c8 checkmate. Black king is trapped on the back rank behind its own pawn shield. This proves that your own pieces can sometimes work against you. Let me add more pieces on the board. Can you find a back rank mate here? Yes, there are two ways. Queen captures rook on e8. Rook captures queen and the rook e1 captures back the rook at e8 and it is a checkmate. The second one is rook e1 captures the rook at e8, rook captures it back and the queen captures the rook at e8 and a checkmate. But I love the first one. Let's check another example. Can you see a back rank mate here? It's white to move. Yes, queen to f7, check. King goes to h8, queen f8, sacrificing the queen. Bishop captures f8 and rook to f8 is a checkmate. Balestra Mate. The Balestra Mate is a checkmate pattern that demonstrates optimal coordination between a queen and bishop. Bishop c6 checkmate shows how the white bishop and queen coordinate perfectly to checkmate the black king on the side of the board. An important observation here is that in the case of Balestra Mate, bishop must be the checking piece. The queen has the task to block all the escape squares without the help of opponent's own pieces. Let's examine this position. It's white to move. Can you find a Balestra Mate here? Pause the video and try to find it. Let's go. Queen f6 check. King e8 and bishop c6 is a Balestra checkmate. What about this position? It's white to move. Try to find out a checkmate in two moves. Queen c7 check. King b5. Bishop d3. Another Balestra checkmate. Blackburne's Mate. Blackburne's Mate is a rare checkmate pattern that involves two bishops and a knight against a castle king. The pattern is named after Joseph Henry Blackburne, a British chess player who once demonstrated this checkmate in one of his games. Bishop h7, checkmate, demonstrates the typical coordination between two bishops and a knight. Here is the original game that earned this pattern its name. It's black to move. Can you find a mate in two moves? Queen to h3. White is forced to play g into h3, which will expose the white king on the h1 e4 diagonal. It is also interesting to note that the black has only 3 minor pieces remaining, yet they coordinate perfectly to deliver checkmate. Although white has a lot of pieces on the board, they are not doing anything to help defend their king. Bishop capture e4, a stunning checkmate. Hook mate. The hook mate is a very useful and instructive checkmate pattern that demonstrates optimal coordination between a rook and knight. The pattern is named after its visual appearance that resembles a hook. Rook h8, checkmate, demonstrates the hook mate. Note the optimal coordination between the rook and knight. The knight must be supported though, in this case by the king on f5. Position from Vassily, Ivanchuk and Levon Aronian match 2013. You are white here. Can you spot a hook mate here? Pause the video and try. Let's go. Rook g7, an awesome move. Bishop captures g7. Rook captures g7. Rook g6. Rook into g6. A wonderful checkmate. Ian Nepomuceni, Ivan Salgado Lopez, 2008. You are white here. Can you find a hookmate here? Pause the video and try. Queen captures c8. If king moved to b6, queen b8 will be a checkmate. If king captures c8, rook e8 check, and if king moves to b7, rook b8 will be a checkmate. Or if king moves to d7, rook d8 will be a checkmate again. Smothered Mate. Smothered Mate is only possible if the enemy king is completely surrounded by his own pieces. This pattern also features the unique jumping ability of the knight. Knight f7 checkmate. This simplified position demonstrates Smothered Mate. Note how the black king is completely surrounded by its own pieces. Can you spot a Smothered Mate here? Queen into h7. Queen captures h7. Knight f7 checkmate. It's of course much easier to solve a checkmate puzzle if you know what you're looking for. In a real game, you don't have the luxury of being told that the checkmate is there. However, a good knowledge of checkmate pattern will increase your chance to find such opportunities during your own games. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked the video, please don't forget to put a thumbs up. I'll be coming with more instructional videos in coming days. Stay tuned, stay blessed.